Hello and welcome to another episode of Viking Women's Basketball with Chelsey, Gregg. And believe it or not, we're at the end of the regular season, Coach. But before we get to the last weekend, let's talk about a great last weekend here at Viking Pavilion for you guys. Make up an 11-point deficit, beat Montana State, and then even losing to Montana, take out that first quarter, it was even, and it was a great game. So definitely a lot of encouraging signs heading into March, which is the best month of basketball season.
Yeah, absolutely. Really proud of the effort. The energy, just the enthusiasm that we showed, really a better defensive effort, which I think, again, we talked about last week, that leads into having confidence on the offensive end. Saw the ball go in. We shoot the ball pretty well when we're at home. And so, yeah, overall, we competed. We didn't allow that 11-point deficit to deter us. Really stayed in the game. And then on Saturday against Montana, again, would have liked to not have that first quarter, but after that, played them even. And that's a really good basketball team.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, the ball's been going in for the Vikings recently. 3-point specifically, that was missing during the tough stretch, but in these last 5 games, you're shooting over 40% and averaging over 8.5 makes a game. And it's been a lot of people. Of course, Esme's out in front with 13 makes over the last 5 games, but you have 4 others with at least 5 makes, and then 3 of those 4 actually are shooting better than 50% in Mia, Laney, and Lana. So it's been a big help for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a total team effort. Obviously, Esme is a special player, and when she's able to get looks and make them, it helps us out, and we feed off of her energy. But I think a lot of it is we're better decision making, we're shot ready, we're trusting each other a little bit more, and I think that all goes into making a shot. When you're shot ready, you are supposed to be there, and you are there, right? That trust that you have with your teammates, that's the one you're supposed to take. It just goes in, and so we continue to get in after offensive end with being in the right spots and our execution, but ultimately, can you get the stops? Can you rebound and go the other way? I feel like that gives us the confidence to produce on the offensive end.
Okay, and before we get into the games this weekend, obviously Saturday is a special day with Senior Day, on top of Girl Scouts and alumni too. But speaking about the seniors first, we'll honor Paige and Cinco before the game. I just wanted to get your memories of Paige and Cinco, and we'll start with Paige.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this weekend, y'all. Come out. Okay, we got a lot, like you said, going on. But with Paige, you're always going to get a hard worker. She's willing to do that dirty work. As an undersized big, she's got to work through everything that she gets. Just a joy to be around, great energy, and just really off the floor, just a really neat person. Which I think that sometimes gets overlooked, right, when we talk about the basketball piece of it. But ultimately, we got some really special people in our program, and just excited for her next chapter.
Yeah, and then Cinco, my memory of Cinco will always be the game-tying 3 against Montana. Banked it in, the forced overtime, the Vikings win at 74-72. And, just with the whole craziness around that game, too, because it was the snowstorm and everything, that was such a good memory of
yeah, Cinco. Man, she's just been so much for us, and just I'm devastated for her that she missed out on the majority of her senior season for us, not just because of the success that I think we could have had with her on the floor, but also just for her. You work so hard to finish strong and then have to go through an injury like that. But man, she's been at practices and she's still cheering and engaged and supportive, which I really appreciate. Just what a competitor that she is. Absolutely man, I can just see that scene right now running through my head, that game in Montana, or here, versus Montana. But just, again, really good person, willing to do what you ask and compete. I think that's sometimes everybody wants to be best friends, but some of us don't want to compete all the time. But you can always count on Cinco to come and compete really hard for us.
All right, so yeah, definitely come early to see Paige and Cinco honored before the game. But let's talk about the games now. So Sac State's coming in Saturday at 2 p.m. They were probably the hottest team in the conference in February. They won 4 of 5, starting with the win over you guys.
Yeah.
That included a win over NAU, which is obviously one of the best teams in the conference.
Yeah.
And they were unlucky to not beat Montana this past weekend. So definitely a hot team coming in. What'll it take to slow them down?
Yeah, I think you got to not allow teams like that to get confidence early, right? That we not allow open threes. When we saw them the first time, they weren't shooting it great from the three-point line, and that has changed. And so making sure that they're not shooting it where they're catching it, making them do something different, work for everything that they have. But ultimately, can we rebound? And at their place, we didn't shoot the ball well. So conversely, as much as we try to hold them, we got to be able to put the ball in the hole too.
And then close out the regular season Monday night at Idaho. You know, it seemed like ages ago we played Idaho, and it kind of is because that was the first weekend of the conference weekends. But you know, it was a tied game in the final minute, so it was either team's game. What will it take to get that win now?
Yeah, and I think all the teams, you know, Idaho and us included, trying to get some momentum going into tournaments. And so I think that we continue to talk about it. It's going to be us. What are we willing to do? Are we willing to get to our rotations, to block out, to share the basketball, to step up and make the shots that we need to make, and continue just to do those things that put us in the right positions. Having great energy. I think sometimes down the stretch, you know, everybody's tired a little bit, right? It's been a long year, and so who's going to continue to stay motivated, and just really who's going to want it more is what it's going to come down to on Monday.
All right, there it is. Monday's on the road, so the last chance to see your Vikes is Saturday at 2 p.m. against Sac State. Again, come early if you want to see the Senior Day ceremony for Paige and Senko. And on top of all that, we have Girl Scout appreciation going on that day, so get your Girl Scout cookies if you want, and then also an alumni event. So for all information and tickets and everything, visit GoVikes.com.
Go Vikes!